Goodest day. This is the story of fate and destiny in the life of Buddha. Now, Siddhartha was the prince who became known as the Buddha. He began the middle way, the way of the pagan, as the Burmese Empire shows us, in the land now named Myanmar. 500 years before Jesus the Galilean was a man of compassion who we know as the Buddha. And his many followers were known as pagans during that time. This is the time period when the Persian king Cyrus the Great allowed the Jews to go back and rebuild their temple if they so choose, led by Zerubbabel, who hated pagans. So when Zerubbabel was calling the Jews back, he says, you're allowed to come back and live in Jerusalem, but if you've married a pagan, you have to get divorced. There's to be no pagans in Jerusalem, okay? Now, Siddhartha had an enemy, an agent of the darkness, and it was his cousin and brother-in-law, Prince Devadatta. Devadatta thought for sure that he was better than Siddhartha. He could shoot arrows with deadly precision, he could wrestle wild animals, and he had a charisma that drew people to him. I think he also had some psychic abilities. Devadatta felt that he was superior in every way, and when Siddhartha renounced his royal life at the palace and left his wife Yasodhara and their son Rahula to become a wandering ascetic seeking the way to overcome suffering, Devadatta scoffed and mocked him and slandered his name as having no morals, calling Siddhartha nothing. But as time passed, Siddhartha attained enlightenment. I think it took 5 years. And a liberation from suffering, and he called it Buddhahood. The freedom from attachment, hatred, and lack of knowledge. And many people began following the Buddha to listen to his teachings. Devadatta could not believe that Siddhartha's life had not amounted to nothing. He was enraged that the man he had slandered for years as a bad person was coming into prominence among the people. And this is when the notoriety of Devadatta being well known for his evil actions began. The way of the enlightened one was spreading worldwide. Teachers were coming from all over to learn from the Buddha and becoming Buddhists themselves. Devadatta, watching his cousin's destiny shining like a bright star in this world, became filled with hate in his heart. And he got Siddhartha's war elephant drunk on fermented rice and whipped it to a frenzy. Nalaguri, the war elephant, became dangerously aggressive, and as Siddhartha was walking through the narrow streets of Rajagatha, collecting alms on his regular routine, the thundering ground-shaking noise of Nalaguri came charging. The disciples of the Buddha scatter in panic, but Siddhartha stands there completely calm, and Nalaguri suddenly stops in front of him. Siddhartha's soothing, loving words instantly calm Nalaguri, and the elephant gently kneels down like it's bowing, and Siddhartha tenderly strokes his shrunken head, radiating his love for Nalaguri. The crowd are in shock. The disciples are stunned. Truly, they say, he is the Buddha. But Devadatta is furious. His perfect murder plan has made Siddhartha look more divine. His vengeful hate escalates, and he plots to kill Siddhartha himself. The Buddha's favorite meditation spot was called Vulture Peak, It's his sanctuary. The mountain path has large boulders above it, about 30 meters, and again Siddhartha followed his routine. Devadatta found the perfect large boulder, heavy enough to crush a person instantly. The trajectory was also perfect. He wedges a thickened branch of wood to lever it and waits, hiding behind that boulder. He hears Siddhartha and his disciples enjoy the day as they walk the path, nearing closer. Devadatta sees his chance and leverages the boulder. The large boulder starts rolling, bouncing, picking up speed. There are so many disciples on the narrow path that there's no time for turning back. Again, the impossible happens. The boulder bounces onto a small sharp rock, and splits perfectly in two. Most of it crashes to either side and stops, but one sharp fragment flew into the air and shot down and cut through the top of Siddhartha's foot, drawing much blood. Siddhartha looks down at the deep cut on his foot, then looks directly up and sees Devadatta. Their eyes meet, and Siddhartha's expression is a pure, deep sadness. He doesn't call, he doesn't accuse, he doesn't seek revenge. He sits and wraps his foot and meditates there, gathering his composure. And when he is calm once more, they carry on, walking to Vulture Peak. The Buddha's complete lack of retaliation made Devadatta even more evil. Now, the king of Magdala had his father assassinated by being scratched with poison fingernails. Ajatashatru was a king hungry for control. Devadatta goes to King Ajatashatru and recruits assassins. If the first fails to kill the Buddha, then the second has to kill the first assassin and the Buddha. And if that fails, then the third has to kill that second assassin and the Buddha, and so on. The first assassin approaches Buddha during his teaching, and as her hand is ready to scratch, the poisoner looks into Siddhartha's eyes and immediately throws herself at Buddha's feet and confesses everything, revealing the entire plot. Siddhartha doesn't call for guards or demand justice. He says, "Your honesty has saved your life. Go in peace." The backup assassins all witness this, and they come forward one by one and they confess and they ask for forgiveness. And within hours, Devadatta's murder squad have become disciples of Siddhartha. King Ajatashatru hears what has happened and he panics because he was a co-conspirator. But Buddha sends a message saying the king is forgiven. King Ajatashatru also became a follower of Buddha. Every attempt to destroy Siddhartha has only made him more divine, more worthy of worship, and more people following him, and Devadatta is jealous. If he can't kill the teacher, he will destroy their teaching. Devadatta approaches Siddhartha on a day when he has a multitude of people asking questions and recording the answers of the Enlightened One. In front of hundreds, Devadatta announces stricter rules. True monks should only live in the forest, sleep in the trees, never eat meat, wear only animal skins, leaves, what nature naturally provides, feathers, etc. Siddhartha sees straight through Devadatta's extremism and says, "These are good suggestions for those who wish to follow them, but they should be optional and not mandatory." Devadatta begins recruiting newer monks, convincing them that the Buddha is too commercial, too flashy. And he stands up declaring, "The Buddha has lost his way. He is too comfortable living in this abundance. I will lead the way to true enlightenment." And about 500 were impressed by this charisma and they followed Devadatta. The Buddha declared that Devadatta should be cast out like spit. Siddhartha enters the stillness of his meditation as they leave, and then warns the Sangha. That's like the school. It's like where all the people are. The Sangha, that Devadatta has changed for the worse. Devadatta starts a cult of fear. He is controlling, demanding, obsessed with the rules and punishment. And before too long, the 500 return to Siddhartha and are devoted to enlightenment. Devadatta is exposed as a fraud and strange things happened. His hatred was eating him alive. His skin kept breaking out in pus. He was constantly feverish. His strength weakened. He became paranoid that he was being poisoned. And then, realizing that everything he had said and done to Siddhartha was wrong, he was on his way to apologize when a large earthquake occurred, splitting the ground open where Devadatta was walking, and he fell to his death. It was Siddhartha's fate that Devadatta crossed him, but the Buddha refused this fate and only followed his destiny, and thus so shall we all. But fate will have the final outcome. It is written that Siddhartha died in Kushangara after ingesting a poisoned mushroom or poisoned pork by a man named Kunda, who had invited him to come over for dinner. Siddhartha was 80 years old and was in great pain and dysentery. The Buddha left Kunda's house with Ananda, who had not eaten, and his friend, did I say that they both came? Oh, he'd come to dinner with his friend Ananda. Now, Buddha left Kunda's house with Ananda, who had not eaten, and asked his friend to prepare a resting couch between two trees. The Buddha lay down with one leg above the other, resting his head with his right hand, and in this position he died. There's like lots of statues of the reclining Buddha, and that is that's how he died, 80 years old, okay? Now that is the end of the story. So it is interesting. They all believed in reincarnation. Well, I won't say that they believed in reincarnation, more like they were in tune with how the soul reincarnates. And it is written that Buddha said that in a past life, Devadatta was his teacher and had taught him good things and was a good teacher. But in this lifetime, Devadatta was also a teacher and taught Siddhartha deeper compassion, stronger compassion, and stronger patience, and more forgiveness. Okay, you understand what I'm saying here? And yet, he was still poisoned because Kunda got him. So it was always Buddha's fate that he would be poisoned. Not sure how the elephant trampling him. That's why the elephant didn't trample him and the rock didn't kill him. The poison might have, though, when the assassins came. But because of their conscience, which lives in our heart, they weren't able to commit the atrocity. So accidentally it happened further in the Buddha's life, and it was his fate that he died by poison. Right, well, that's the story. So remembering that they were in that tea, And we're coming up to the eclipses. They're coming up soon. But we are here and we are going to choose destiny. We are going to fate. Okay, we're going to... No. We don't answer it. We don't acknowledge. Well, do we acknowledge? Yeah. Because we make sure that we know who's going to poison us, kind of idea. But we don't do anything about it, okay, guys? Now, well wishes and blessings. Stay strong. Ka kite.